Hello, my name is Aubrey Matheus, and this is my degree project called Barbershop. I will be giving you a little tour of my site. It is for a salon, a self-owned salon, hair salon. It is a 1950s themed. We'll start on the home page. Right away we have this big book now button that's also in the nav bar. Clickable to this page here, where their clients can book an appointment. I wanted to keep this the same as to not confuse her current clients. So both of these are clickable and open in a new tab. We have, if you scroll down a little farther, some little graphic design that I created. Both of these hover states that indicate that they will take you to, once clicked, to the About Me page or the Services page, which are the other pages that I have created, which we'll get to in a second. Down below I have our footer with contact information, social media, location, with a little movable map, and hours that she's available. Moving on to the Services page, have all of these services listed and organized with pictures and the labels. So we have our haircuts, our colors, our styles, perms and wax. Each one that provides this with haircut is indicated below. Like this one is the color, single color retouch, and if you get it with a haircut, this would be the new price that they would pay with that additional haircut added onto it, which she said that she gets a lot, so we included that with there. And then these are the scrollable images of all their clients that she's done so far, at least not all of them, but all the images I could get. The footers here again. And then we'll move on to the About Me page, where we have information about Barbara herself, just a little bit about what her likes, and a little bit about her family and what she likes to do. And then down below we have all the places she's previously worked, and I wanted to provide her experience so that her clients would trust her to, cut her hair. And then the additional link we have up here is to a product page where clients can order any products that they'd like and get it shipped to their homes. And I wanted to insert this into the website because Barbara gets a percentage back from those shipments and those orders, so I wanted to include that. And then lastly, I will show you her responsive pages. Gotta make it a little bigger. There we go. So this is the phone screen. I have two different ones, the phone and the tablet. So this is what it looks like on the About Me page for the phone screen. As you can see, the little map that we had here turned into an address, and it's clickable. That will take you to that location. All the other information's the same. We have this drop-down hamburger menu with all the same navigations. This is the Services page. Everything's stacked on top of each other. We have a smaller image scroll bar. And then lastly, on the home page, we have all the same information. This picture's a little smaller, and these are stackable now. And then I also have a tablet view because she keeps a tablet in her room, so I wanted to have a tablet version for her that she can show her clients this website from her tablet, because she uses this tablet to pay. Did I already hit it? So it's right here. Oh, there it is. Alright, this is the tablet view. A little bit, it's pretty much the same, just a little bit bigger, but in this came back with that tablet view. Everything should be stacked the same, just smaller, more permitted for those tablet screens. Scrollable images again, and the About Me page lastly. And there you go, that's my website that I created for Degree Project. Thank you so much.
So this is my website for Carolina Claim Consultants. On here, the homepage, we have a little bit of information just about the business and why people should choose them. I also have included on here an email button that leads to an email draft for the business's email. Down here I also have reviews and contact information on the footer. Next up on the services page, I have some information about the different solutions that they have offered, as well as a list of services. I've included a call to action at the bottom of this page as well. Next, the About Us page includes a short bio about Dr. Hancock, just his work experience, as well as his different qualifications, and on the bottom here is a quote from him about why he does what he does and kind of what inspired him to start his business. On the last page, the frequently asked questions, I've included just a bunch of questions that people might have when they visit the website, just kind of asking about what the business offers and any solutions or questions that they might have. I included another email button on here as well. The logo leads back to the home page.
Okay, so I'm going to run you through the Grim Tactics site. This is the semi-finished version, before defense, before all of that jazz. So let's go ahead and take you through it. I will take you over to the desktop version here shortly, but for now we're going to take you through an extended sort of, breakdown of the site. So here's our front homepage, index.html. If you go here, it tells you the mission or the call to action of the site, along with my little, logo right here. I'll bring you over to the desktop version real quick, where you can see when you click the image, it takes you directly to my Twitch channel. And yep, so when you move down here, it takes you to each individual game that is included on the site right now with all the tactics. So Dead by Daylight, when you hover over it, shows you, basically describes Dead by Daylight in one sentence. Same with Left 4 Dead, same with Resident Evil 7. Down here we have our community highlights page, where I finally put a sort of channel trailer. I don't have audio on right now, but a channel trailer that an editor of mine made for me. And then when you click each individual video, it is a highlight from each game. When we scroll down here, we have our FAQ section, where when you click on it, it tells you the answer to the question, what is the site about? This website provides horror game survival guides and tips. Down here, who runs the site? The site is run by Scary Kyle. You can find his social links in community, which is up here. All right, let's move over to games. Now games, you of course see the highlighted games here, but also if you scroll down, you'll see Phasmophobia, Resident Evil 2, and Outlast as the upcoming games, as this site is supposed to be updated quarterly. Of course, it has the descriptive one-sentence description. And then when you click on each individual game here, so let's take us to Left 4 Dead, for instance. It tells you each section of the game, and it tells you exactly what you're supposed to do for each part, along with imagery. And then in between each section, I added a little pro tip of mine that I thought would be helpful for each section, along with my little avatar here that you can click and it'll take you to my Twitch again. I won't do that again because we already showed that. But yeah, that's basically the same going all the way down. So basically section, pro tip, section, pro tip. It's the same for all three games. And yeah, so let's take you over to community. The community pages will bring you back over to desktop real quick. Our community pages, once clicked, will take you to each of the social platforms that I have here. And then I'm not going to open Discord because it'll automatically open my Discord app, and I don't want to do that. But the link does work. It's a permanent link, so when you click it, it'll take you to the Discord that you can join and, of course, join the conversation. And then down here, we have creator content, which is me. This is my content. I recommend anybody watching it be 18 plus because I have a little bit of swearing in there, but that's okay. Then we go to resources. It was brought to my attention that names underneath could be beneficial to show who these people are. Of course, all of these links take you to respected takes you to respected pages to their YouTubes, right? And then each video is corresponding to the order in which that the images are here. Of course, with Left 4 Dead as well, and Resident Evil 7 there at the bottom. Now, let's take you through our responsive version of the site. We're going to do that here, actually. So, it's basically the same, all the sections, except these don't flip. They're just click images because, of course, when you're on a mobile device, you can't hover over an image. So when you just click on there, it'll take you to the respected page. Bada bing, bada boom. And down here, our community highlights section is, of course, in vertical format now. And the FAQs are basically the same. With games, basically the same as the front. No hovers. Now let's take us down to community. Again, basically everything's the same. You can swipe these with your finger on the mobile version. And then on resources, basically the same as before, just a smaller version, and you can swipe through the videos. Now we'll take you through into each individual game, pardon me. Let's click that again. Just basically a vertical format. So there's that. I'll show you the other two games as well. And the pro tips show up here, but there we go. And yeah, I hope that was an apt analysis of the website. Yeah.
So this is Jungle Hub, the website for my YouTube channel, Welcome to the Jungle with Kyle Phelps. Well, the channel is called Kyle Phelps. The show is called Welcome to the Jungle with Kyle Phelps. And then there's a bunch of, that's what this page here is for, to basically talk about that. The podcasts, which is there's Associated Podcast, the Battle of Ohio podcast, and Who Day versus Who Dat. And then there's also live events that we put on, which are kind of the show, but also kind of separate. So that's why they have their own page. Then there's also this fan zone page here, where fans of the channel, or really anybody, can come to interact with the show, whether that be supporting through things like Patreon, or using the power ranking tool that I built, where you can basically put NFL teams in order what you think the power ranking should be any given week or for any given situation. And then you email them to my email address down here at wttjshow@gmail.com, and I'll put you on the show. So that's pretty much how that works. So this is the index page, the home page here. You can see this video intro here. It's actually the introduction. It's the intro video for my show. So like every show starts with this intro. Well, it starts with a cold open, and then the intro pops in. But this animation here was actually made, like most of this video was made by me, but this animation here with the tiger and then he claws the screen, that was made by Nick and Jake Beskel, who are animation students in the Applied Media Communications program at UC. They did a phenomenal job with that, so I wanted to shout them out while I was going through this. So most of the pages are all kind of a one-column layout because I was designing this with a mobile-first perspective, because 60% of internet traffic is done on the mobile phone. So it makes more sense to design with that primarily in mind, and then kind of work your way back from there. But I really like the way the two-column layout worked on the homepage, so it just ended up this way, particularly because of this comments sidebar here. This doesn't exist on the other pages, but if you go put a comment up on the YouTube show, there's a chance that you could end up being put up on the main page of the website. So it's a nice little incentive there. Video gallery down here is basically a list, scrollable list you can browse through and find all of the latest videos that have been uploaded to the channel recently, or live streams that have happened on the channel recently. These are hard-coded, so I have to go in there and change the links when a new episode comes out. There was, some thought process about doing that with an API, but the API was buggy and didn't work, so that's hopefully something I'll implement later, but not part of the degree project. So, like I said, this is This is, WTTJshow at gmail.com is the business email for the show, and you can get there by clicking business inquiries down here. These are some of the more frequented social medias that I have here. So you got Blue Sky, you got Twitter, you got YouTube, and I have other social medias. Those are the main three that you really need to know, though, if you're going to follow my channel. Copyright down here, and then the privacy policy, which I did not write this privacy policy, just to be very clear. I got this, I had a lawyer write this for me. But he also gave me absolutely horrendous code, so I had to go through and rework all of the HTML code to actually make this work. That took way longer than I expected, and I just want you all to know how long this part took me. It took forever for such a simple part of the website, but I guess that's why we're doing this degree project, right? So the show, as I said, this is Welcome to the Jungle with Kyle Phelps. It's the flagship show for the YouTube channel. It's a look at the NFL on like a bi-weekly or weekly or whatever basis from the perspective of a Bengals fan. So we do a lot of stuff here. We do a lot of like trash talk. We do a lot of analysis. We do a lot of like projections and stuff like that. And it's a good time. There's a timeline here that kind of goes through the show's history and some of the bigger milestones that have happened. Started things before COVID kicked off, but obviously COVID was a pretty good time to be starting a YouTube channel, so things kind of started blowing up from that point. And then, I made sure to note when I decided to go back to UC, because if you go to the channel now, you'll notice that there isn't as much activity as you'd expect from a YouTube channel that takes itself somewhat seriously. But that's mostly just because I've been, focusing more on school, and I've told people that, but I wanted to make sure I highlighted that just so people understand what's going on. Rebirth and redesign of the channel, which I did last year, and then it was obviously this website. Going forward, here's what the new schedule is going to look like. It's basically what that is. Some frequently asked questions here in a drop-down style menu. Just some things that people have a tendency to ask me, and I figure it's easy. Just go look at the website, then having to constantly answer the same questions all over again. The podcasts is, like I said, it's not just the flagship show. It's also the Battle of Ohio podcast and Who Dey versus Who Dat, which are podcasts that that I started with a buddy of mine who I went to Ohio University with back in the day. He's a Browns fan, so it's a rivalry podcast. And then Who Dey versus Who Dat, it's me and a Saints fan, but obviously there's no real rivalry there, so it's just an NFL. It's a typical NFL show, basically. And then it has its own frequently asked questions that are separate because obviously it wouldn't make sense to put the ones for the show there. I'll get to the fan zone here in a second, but the events page here is basically just, I have plans in the future of making this kind of like the video gallery. I have plans of making that dynamically populate with use of an API, probably Google Calendar API. But right now, I just hard code these events in, and basically, so people are always asking what's the next thing that's going to come. And it's just, be a lot easier if I could just redirect them to the website and be like, well, so, obviously it's the off season. There's not a whole lot going on. But next up, there's going to be an all Bengals mock draft, here on April 13th. The week after, it's going to be the whole NFL mock draft. That I've been doing that going back to like high school. That's an annual tradition for me. But yeah, that's the events page. But really, the crowning achievement of this website, I feel, is the fan zone. And it's not just because I built it in the React framework, which was an interesting endeavor, by the way. Like I'm proud of the fact that I was just able to make that happen, right? Just because this isn't a computer science program; it's a design program. I actually had to end up as the reason I have these two up here is because I had to end up hosting the fan zone page on a separate repository because my backup plan was to not do React. So I made most of the website in a static page, or in static pages, and then found out later that it's actually a big pain in the butt to only do one page in React, because the way that GitHub works with npm, which is kind of like the back end process to how how React populates a web page. You can't really do that and have static pages because it kind of messes with the way everything works. So two separate repositories, and so it's technically two separate websites. But obviously, as you click through it, it doesn't feel like you're going to a separate website. It's, the only one that's weird is the home page because that splash screen there. But it just feels like a normal part of the website, even though it's technically on a different website. But as I said earlier here, you can find different ways to support the show. Go here, go to the Patreon, which isn't super fleshed out right now, but it's getting there. Twitch is another thing that, after graduation, I have plans on doing this a lot more often in addition to YouTube. But really, and then social media buttons here. I actually styled this off of a typical NFL fan zone page, so that's kind of like where the styling ideas come from. But the crowning achievement, really, of this whole thing is this power rankings app here that I built. It's pretty usefully responsive. It grows and shrinks, just like the whole website grows and shrinks, because it needs to be responsive, because 60% of internet traffic is on mobile. So you got to think of them first, which is kind of I think I mentioned that earlier with the layout of the homepage. But, the big deal here is that, you can actually drag and drop these logos and kind of just build your power rankings from there. Obviously, the Bengals are number 1 and the Steelers are number 32. Hopefully, there aren't any panelists who are Steelers fans who probably won't appreciate that joke. But anyway, basically you build out your power rankings here. If you make a mistake, you can either take them out. Obviously, the Vikings aren't the 6th best team in the NFL. Or if you think I think the Jaguars are the number 7 best team in the NFL, but you don't want to go through the process of taking the 49ers out here, you just take the Jaguars and put them there and it bounces the 49ers back, right? Or if you put them in the wrong spot, it just bounces them back here so that, it doesn't break and get messy and stuff like that. So if you screw up the whole thing and you just want to start over, you can hit reset and it just goes back to normal. Or you put some teams down here, say the Seahawks are the 2nd best team in the NFL for some reason. And so let's pretend I've actually made all the power rankings here. You can hit save and it downloads an image for you. And that image, you can email to me at wttjshow@gmail.com, which I mentioned here in the instructions. And then if you do that, I'll feature you the next time we do power rankings on the channel. So that's basically the concept behind that whole thing. So thank you for your time.